Welcome to another exciting edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and of course, worldwide online at 1300WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, and a pen and paper, because we're always efforting to bring you good information that you can use and share with others. But with that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. Y'all know me. My name is Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran, a retired legal advocate for veterans, and founder of AVET Project. But you also know I never fly through the airwaves alone.
Good morning. I'm Glenn McGuffey. I'm retired Air Force and also recently retired as the manager of the Brevard County Veteran Services Team, where I was glad to serve for 22 years. So we're bringing you great stuff again in 2014. That's right.
It's the new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh, man, unbelievable. Where did 13 go to?
No kidding.
It just zipped on by, but we are so happy to be here in the new year because my belief is this is going to be a fantastic, wonderful new year. And 2014's got to be better than last year. We were busy at AVET Project and here on American Warrior Radio, but we're going to be bringing you even more entertaining and exciting guests like the one we have today. You folks are familiar with the 920th Rescue Wing's Runway Report. So Glenn, what say we get the show started with a runway report?
Oh, absolutely. Crank it up.
There's a little of the Air Force hymn for you all. We are so privileged and happy to have joining us today on American Warrior Radio the Chief of Public Affairs for the 920th Rescue Wing, right here from Patrick Air Force Base, but she ain't right here right now. Say hello to Major Cathleen Snow. Are you there, Major? Thank you so much for joining us. Where exactly are you as we're talking right now? Well, live from Afghanistan, honestly, we so appreciate you taking the time because, as you know, you were chief among those that wanted to get the word out through a new segment on American Warrior Radio called the Runway Report, and we're really excited to have you, especially since you're in theater over there doing the good work of all our military. We salute everybody, but to be able to converse with somebody, particularly in your position, that's got your finger on the pulse of what's going on over there, we're just really overwhelmed with satisfaction and gratification to have you. You are the chief, you're the chief of the public affairs for the 920th. Before we get into some of the particulars, because you got a lot to tell us, give us a little bit of your biographical information, like where were you born and raised?
Steelers.
Very sorry for my Steelers right now.
You and me both. You know, I was born in Clearfield, so we almost got there, but we didn't quite.
We almost did. It was fun.
Why did you join?
And so, yeah, that's where I grew up. And then I joined the Air Force right after high school and been in ever since. Just fell in love with it. Something that I did to help offset college. And then it was just something that became part of my life. And I have been in for 28 years now, so it's been
Wow.
quite a ride.
Quite a ride. What was your major? I presume you took off-duty education programs to get your degree. Is that so?
Yes, sir. Yes. I started out as a aircraft maintenance technician, and then after several years of being in the Air Force, I decided to pursue communications education and got my degree in journalism and communications.
So,
Actually, up in Pittsburgh after I got off of active duty.
outstanding. So you're a Mustang. I mean, that's you were enlisted, and I didn't know that about. That's cool, Major. And you were recently promoted, at least within the last year.
Yes, March is when I made rank. So
Yeah, congratulations.
excited by that. Thank you.
So you went in as enlisted, you got back out, and you went to school, got your education, and then got your commission, and you've been serving in the communications or the public affairs department of the Air Force since that time?
Pretty much, yeah. I've never had a break in service. So I've always been in some capacity. While I was going to college, I was a reservist. So yes, I've continued my education, and then I ended up going through basic training twice. But I must really love it. Officer training school, which is the officer version of basic training. So I'm a glutton for punishment.
I guess so. Glenn, now you went in after you went to college. You're a Oklahoma Stater, so you went through the regular officer.
Yeah, I went through the Reserve Officer Training Corps, ROTC, and at Oklahoma State, who's going into the Cotton Bowl. Go Cowboys!
So since you've been in 28 years is a long time, you've seen and done a whole lot. I'm glad that you got out of aircraft maintenance because, that's just busting your knuckles. I mean, we need those guys and gals for sure. But you can reach so many more people, especially with your talents and abilities. What are some of your hobbies? I know you and I know each other fairly well, but share with our listeners what you like to do when you're not pushing public affairs for the Air Force.
Well, when I'm not situated in a landlocked country, I love the Space Coast because I love the water and kayaking and paddleboarding are two of my favorite activities that I like doing when I'm back home. So I can't wait to get back to doing those things when I'm finished with my mission here. So I'm excited to go get on the water, be around the water.
Don't suppose there's a whole lot of water there in Kabul, huh? There's a river runs through it. Interesting. Okay.
That was a movie, wasn't it?
We'll paint a little picture for us, all of us back here that have not been in country over there. Oh, before we do, hold on. I got to ask. This isn't your first deployment. You've been on some other combat deployments.
My previous deployment to this was to the United Arab Emirates, and I was about 20 minutes from the richest city in the world, Abu Dhabi, but we stayed at a camp, an Air Force camp downtown. So it's quite a difference from my last deployment because Kabul, probably one of the poorer cities in the world. So it's quite
A contrast, yeah.
deployment.
Right, and you were with the combat correspondent team while you were in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yes, we had a little combat correspondent team. We worked for ISR mission, so it was different missions that we flew over Afghanistan and Iraq at the time. It was 3 years ago, so yeah, I had an awesome team, and we were doing some awesome work over there and reporting to a lot of major news networks back in the States. So it was exciting work.
Well, among your other hobbies, though, as I recall, you enjoy writing, yes?
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
I do.
yeah.
I love to write.
Okay, so that's kind of a natural for you.
Yeah, I've been journaling since I've been here, so I keep track of all the things that I experience, and it's really
Journaling.
a way to archive
Journaling.
what you've done and different things that you experience that you can talk about it later. You don't realize, and then you forget that you want to keep those kinds of memories sacred, be able to relate them to your family members.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that most people that are listeners, idea of Afghanistan's whatever they see on television, which is not much.
Not much at all.
And I wonder if you could just give them a high side pass, to use an Air Force term, the living conditions that you experience in Afghanistan, not for you, but for the Afghanis.
Yeah, the living situation for a lot of Afghanis it's gotten a lot better for them because of the security that we brought to the country and a lot of the neutralizing the terrorist network. So it's been quite a difference over the last decade of our presence here. So now we just need to work to maintain, but like in and around the city there's a lot of poverty, and organizations like AVET projects have been able to send us some things. That's nice because AVET reaches out and sends things to the vets, but I really didn't need anything. I have everything I need here, but they were able to send some things that I can take to the orphanages because I go out and visit the orphanages about once a month, or schools are out right now because it's winter here in Cole. And just to give you an idea of why they're out, they usually have a winter break because schools don't have heat here in Cole, so they have to let the children out so that they wouldn't be able to get heat in school. So we got some warm coats and different things to take to them and share the things that AVET Project sent, some of the other organizations back in the Space Coast, and we were able to give those out to the kids and continue to give them out. It's been really a rewarding part of my deployment here is meeting the Afghan people and seeing how they live and how appreciative they are of the coalition and what we bring to them.
That's some really good perspective. And speaking about that whole winning the hearts and minds, you're writing a regular segment anyway for Florida Today on your experiences over there. And the latest one that I was able to catch from December 30th, you talk about how important it is for organizations, not just AVET Project, but really anybody that's interested in helping you help the Afghans can get involved and send things that the Afghan folks may need, at least to make their life a little more tolerable. Because as you describe it, I mean, if they can't even heat their schools for the school children, when these kids aren't in school, then they must go home. What are their home living conditions like? Are they much better than an unheated school?
I haven't had much contact with their home life. There are some Afghans who work here at the Camp ISAF where I'm at. And
What does ISAF mean for our listeners?
ISAF stands for International Security Assistance Force, and it's a NATO operation. And we have a 4-star. General Dunford is our 4-star commander here at ISAF, and he's in charge of the entire NATO operation here in Afghanistan.
Okay, so, and you don't have a lot of exposure, but you have some of the folks, some of the locals that work or help in your office?
Yeah, we have a lot of interpreters that we work with, and we also have a lot of Afghans who work here who commute, from different parts of the city. And I've gotten to know them and talk to them, and they're just really great people. Such an honor to get to know Afghans, what they're really like. They're just so generous. They're friendly and they love Americans, and they all my interaction with them is extremely positive. Actually we have a lady who works in our dorm who does cleaning, and I have some extra like toiletries and carrots, like candy and stuff that I wasn't gonna eat, so I gave it to her. And I came back to my dorm, and she's not a very wealthy woman, and she can't speak English either, so she had something for me. She beckoned me to come over, and she gave me a bracelet. I was just like, wow, sweet.
Well, that's wonderful. What a wonderful story. And kind of curious for us and our listeners, when you're out and about, so to speak, in the community, as we've been discussing, how do you feel you're accepted by the Afghanis in particular as a female, since females don't seem to have,
The
at
same
least from what I know, a
status,
high
yeah.
status in society there?
Question. Yeah, that's a good question. One thing we do as females is we do wear headscarves. When I go out in the community, I wear my uniform, but I wear a headscarf out of respect for the Afghans because the women in Afghanistan wear them and it's part of their culture. So I do it out of respect for the men and women. And
Is this part of a regulation, or is this just a personal option that you have, or is this the Air Force suggesting any woman over there kind of keep with the traditions of the locals?
they've never implemented that as a regulation, but talking with some of our Afghan nationals, we go out in the community and it's part of their culture, so I want to respect their culture. So that's why I've done it, and out of respect for what they're used to and what they're used to seeing.
And I think there's a great picture because you're such a nice lady in the first place, but there's a great picture of you. If folks visit the 920th Rescue Wing's website, they can see you wearing a burqa. It looks like a camouflaged burqa almost, yeah?
And it's the colors of my uniform, my OCB uniform that they issued me when I came over here, so it does match really nice. And I just wear that out of respect for them and their culture. But they've been nothing but respectful to us when we go and visit the schools. We went to visit the Afghan Scouts not too long ago, and that was a great experience. I really didn't know what to expect, and the Afghan Scouts are an amazing organization here in Afghanistan because the interesting thing about their organization is that at one time the scouting program is international. It goes across the world, and we all know the scouts in the United States, and they have the same values that they teach here in Afghanistan with the scouts. But the interesting part is that the scouts here, they were orphans, the ones that we visited. So they didn't have family members, or their family members were too poor to take care of them. So that they sent them to the orphanage. Some of their families still visit them, but we took some donated supplies, and the neat thing about that is that they get funding from the scouting program, so they don't need as much as the schools and the colleges. So what they do is they use the stuff that we give them as community outreach, and they'll take it to the areas where we really can't go because of the Taliban or the danger of those areas that we can't go into, and then we take it to the poorer areas.
So they're kind of like an extension of your outreach. Our ISAF folks can hook up with the scouts. And would it surprise you to know that me, along with probably 300 million of my American friends, don't even realize there's a scouting program over there? I mean, it's just.
The scouting program here is so wonderful. I didn't know what to expect when I showed up. The girls and the Boy Scouts had on uniform, and they learned a lot of the same things that the U.S. Scouts learn, and they actually put on a little show for us when we brought the materials, the donated supplies. They have a show every Friday, and they run a little restaurant at their compound, and they do gymnastics, they do rope tying, they do climbing, and actually got to meet one of Afghanistan's only female mountain climbers. She was there teaching them how to climb mountains. And
Well,
one of
hold
them-
that thought, Major, and we're coming up on break here, and we're
Can
going to
we-
be right back
Yeah,
with you.
can we hold you over? Because there's so much more we want to talk to you about.
Sure, whatever you have time for.
Excellent. Well,
I'm at your disposal.
awesome. Folks, this is a special edition of American Warrior Radio featuring our public affairs chief from the 920th Rescue Wing in a runway report live from Afghanistan. So don't you go anywhere. We've got a lot more coming at you. We'll be right back on American Warrior Radio right here on AM 1300 WMEL. Excellent. So we can come right back in, but I